Welcome back to Breakfast Central. Now we're reviewing the front pages of the paper, and we have journalist Habib Aruna joining us this morning. Good morning. Happy New Month.
Good morning.
Good to have you.
Veteran journalist.
It's veteran.
Please.
Yes.
Journalist of timber and caliber.
Please.
And it's good to see you looking different. We see you in
you look younger.
Maybe because it's Monday.
And it was like I saw you at the commissioning of the 30-kilometer route.
No.
Okay, you were not there.
No.
Oh, okay. I
was not invited.
Oh,
okay. Okay, let's get to the front pages of the paper. I'd like to start with the Nigerian Tribune. On the front page of the Nigerian Tribune, many stories are there. Okay, and the big story on the front page is manufacturers lament mounting challenges. They say 767 manufacturing companies shut down in 2023, over 18,000 jobs lost in 2024. Cost of imported raw materials surged by 118%. Spending on alternative energy hit 1.11 trillion naira in 2024. We just had a conversation with Dr. Tokwe Fashwa, and he explained and in a way sort of defended the current administration, while saying that they understand the struggles, but it's maybe not a current reflection of the complete reality of what's happening, and that 2 years is not enough time to just conclude on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's policies. They need the remaining 2 years to be able to get the full picture. But let's get your thoughts on the current state of the economy, especially with manufacturers lamenting.
Dr. Fashwa is paid to defend the government. So it's a normal thing, it's natural. And the man is capable. He's capable to defend the government. So, and to me, he's doing a good job. But he should come out with more facts to convince Nigerians that yes, what he's saying is the truth. Come out with more facts. But you don't want to see the facts on the table where they can make judgment on what he's saying. But he's doing a good job in doing that. He's being paid to do it, and he's doing it well. You see, when the government came in, the first thing the president did was to remove subsidy. And that affected all the sectors. Don't forget that if you don't have industries, particularly manufacturing industries, there's no way you can grow your GDP and GMP. You cannot rely solely on oil for foreign exchange. So the president's economic policies is not helping that industry. That is why they are closing down. Some are even going to neighboring countries like Ghana. That's why they're closing down. But thank God, efforts have been made by the government to see how they can cushion the effects, subsidize what they are doing, and make sure they upstream once again. Because if these companies are closing down, just be going.
He said over 18,000 jobs lost.
That's the problem, and the main function of government is to make sure that people are gainfully employed. If people are losing their job and in government, they're not doing well. So I think some policies have been put in place, right, to revitalize these industries so people can get back to work.
Okay.
I think they're doing it, but much needs to be done. The policies are germinating. We are seeing the effects, but it's not truly firmly on ground. Because our youth are still unemployed, and it's not good for the government.
Many of them.
Now let's go to the Punch. We're trying to milk as much as we can from the little time we have left. The Punch front page says, grim toll, states move to evacuate flood zones. We heard about the disaster in Niger State. Niger has buried over 153 people. It's estimated that the death toll is above 200. States brace for heavy rain. Citizens plead for action. Mokwa survivors fear diseases outbreak. I'm sure NEMA and the states and organized private sectors donors will get into full swing in the beginning of this week. My question to you is, this is an act of God. We know it's not, we talk about climate change. There is something that we can't avoid. But by moving and evacuating flood zones, is this after the fact? Because they're looking at other areas that are prone to floods and saying, look, let's evacuate this.
Don't forget the ounce on this program about 3-4 weeks ago, I applauded the efforts of this anchor lady when she was raising that issue
of floods, yes.
Of floods,
Limits
you know,
and
the member was saying that all states should gear up, you know, to forestall this issue of flooding, be it flash flooding or real flooding. What we saw in Niger State, my brother.
It's terrible.
That was not a child play.
I think it's scary.
The thing was just carrying people. The flood was just carrying people, and they were helpless. People were helplessly looking at their neighbors and their sisters and brothers being carried away by flood. So I think we raised that issue here, and I thanked her for doing a good job. And I said that was what
and News
I
Central is
expected
also,
the media to be doing.
News Central is on top of the situation.
Absolutely,
I believe
absolutely.
we have a correspondent,
Yes.
Joshua
Sure.
and I.
Joshua and
There's
I,
a
yes.
Mokwa right now.
You guys
And
raised that
give
issue
us-
here on this program. And I think if not belated, what the government is doing is the right. What they're doing is the right thing.
Okay, let's get to know what they're doing. We have Joshua Mari, who's bringing us update from Mokwa. Good morning, Joshua. What's the current situation with the floods? Talk to us.
Good morning to you, Olive. I am live at Bege Primary School, the earlier designated emergency camp for those affected by the flood incident. Well, this morning with indeed fiasco, fiesta particularly, the wife of the governor is expected to come here and distribute some relief materials. But notwithstanding, the question is, it is 5 days after, almost 5 days after the flood incident and 3 days before Salah. Considering the fact that most people who are residents here are Muslims, the question is, how are they going to cope up with the celebration of the Salah? Well, is the government putting that in place? I spoke to some of the residents, and particularly one of the ward chief of the most affected area, and he told me verbatim that there was no camp. I asked him what he meant by that. He said that the camp provided and designated for them is more or less just something in structure, but not put in place particularly. It is quite disheartening that just almost 5 days after, the residents in this area are trying to find their bearing, and most of them, they are being helped by community members, friends, families, and well-wishers who have their cases at heart. How much of the government is being felt in this particular situation is one of the questions we'll be asking residents as time goes on.
Joshua, you talked about the First Lady of Niger State visiting Mokwa today, expected to visit. What do you see there? Are there emergency responders? Have you spoken to NEMA officials? What's the federal government's response to this? Have you spoken to officials of the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs? And what federal presence can we feel in Mokwa as we speak?
I was in this camp as early as 6 a.m. this morning. I can tell you for sure that the amount of persons I saw at this camp were not more than 10 persons, and these people were not affected by the flood. I went through the camp, observed around. There was no government presence in this camp as early as 6 a.m. That means that these people are being left to their fate. They said that some outreach and medical supplies were made to them. Well, I took a stroll, and what I could count were just 5 packets of paracetamol on the ground. Now, that raises a question. If the government really have these people in mind, do they have these people in mind? Are there any provisions for these people? Well, they are even raising concerns over maybe diseases, outbreaks, and the likes. I even paid a visit to the community, and standing in that particular community, I could smell that pungent smell of dead, rotten animals. I don't know for sure if those animals were dead, if they were dead animals, or particularly people who were buried under the rubble after that, the devastating effect of that flood. It is something that I'll have to look at, and News Central will take a very, very close eye, or maybe a bird's eye view on the happenings around this local government, which is Mokwa.
Thank you so much, Joshua, for giving us updates, and we'll definitely touch base with you. I'm sure in our subsequent programming, you would also come in with more reports. Thanks for your time. Let's move back to the front pages of the newspapers there. Let's go to the Punch, back to the Punch, because we have very little time. Defamation, Natasha to appear in court on Tuesday. And then some banks' reserves with CBN surged to 18.8 trillion naira. And not forgetting too, Nigeria's petrol price 55% below West African average, Dangote says. But I'd like us to take a look at this particular story. This Natasha returning to court on Tuesday, tomorrow. She'll be back in court for the defamation. And there's a video where she's made new, allegations again. She said a lot about the National Assembly, what they're doing there, what Nigerians should know about. Do you think she's talking too much?
Nigerians are waiting to see the end of this Natasha saga. And this thing was unfolding just last week or thereabout. The federal government went to court, to add to the problem of the woman. They went to court and charged her for defamation. And senior lawyers like Falana, Okutepa, they came out last week to query the position of the federal government. That does it mean that people can no longer speak out their minds? Why are you joining the suit of the National Assembly and the government of Kogi? So I think Nigerians are interested in it, and it will be advisable for the government to be very careful, more circumspect in dealing with this matter. Because Falano and the other lawyer, they've raised important legal issues, and constitutional issues on it. So I think they should be very careful. And I don't see, that's my personal opinion anyway, I don't see Natasha losing out in this thing. Because the onus is now on the National Assembly, particularly the Senate, Akpabio, to come out clean.
Who put the onus on them? Because now
there's a moral weight, there's a moral question now, angle on the neck of National Assembly.
So that question,
particularly Akpabio.
So that moral question that you are talking about,
to do the right thing.
Who is going to enforce
and the
that moral question?
The federal government cannot be joining issues that is not relevant to them, does not concern them. People are not saying that doesn't mean that people cannot raise questions, not like the way I'm speaking now. I have the right to my opinion, provided by the Constitution. So Natasha should not be denied that right to speak out against what she feels and not right. So I think Nigerians are looking at what will happen tomorrow. The police in their court, they should defend it.
I mean, you talk about the moral right, and again, like that concerns me, because when this happened, that was one thing that a number of us said, that if you say that nothing of the sort happened, you should be able to not feel like you're in any measure stifling her. But now it seems that the federal government has, by virtue of taking her to court, overtly taken sides with Senator Godswill Akpabio and the Senate against Senator Natasha Akpoti-Utoh, and I wonder how all of this...
People are saying this is not a criminal matter. It's a civil case. So you go to court, claim damages, not time to punish Natasha for speaking out. So people are watching.
Let's talk about the CNG. Hopefully we can talk about this as quickly as possible. Vanguard newspaper, the front page says, federal government's gas-powered vehicle scheme runs into major hitch nationwide. 785.6 billion naira investment threatened. Refuel stations, conversion centers, other facilities grossly inadequate. CNG buses, other equipment rots in parking lots. Current pain is temporary, the presidential CNG initiative says. We've talked about this CNG because this is one of the pride of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. After student loan, they mentioned CNG as one of the pride of the current administration. But now, reports are having it that it's being threatened, investment is being threatened in this regard. What do we make of this?
I think the government should come out and explain to Nigerians what is really going on.
that some people are not doing that?
Because you see, what I realize, anytime I'm driving by...
Yeah, just here. You have just one in Agriculture that serves...
People are really interested. They've converted their
vehicles
to gas. Gas-powered engine. So, and it's been working well for them, based on what I've been hearing. So what happened? I think they should come out and explain to us what is really going on. It should not be the Nigerian way, that we cannot get it right. And they should come and explain to us, because most Nigerians are interested in powering their vehicle with gas for the cost of petrol. So the alternative should be, how can they make it work? Now that there's a bottleneck, people in charge should come and explain to Nigerians what is going on.
Okay.
All right, let's look at another one.
But you applaud Vanguard from bringing up that issue.
Yes.
I'm making it a front page,
I think it was one of the questions we wanted to ask the SA to the president's office, but of course, due to time, we wanted to talk about the CNG.
Absolutely.
And it's the inability for Nigerians to get at least some form of succor while running away from buying expensive fuel. Let's look at this story as well. Nigeria, 6 others affected as Saudi Arabia suspends block work visa. It's like it's getting even tougher for us inside the Vanguard newspaper. It has that story. Nigeria, 6 others affected as Saudi Arabia suspends block work visa. Remember that Nigerians already are facing, it's like the passport is starting to go through a lot of challenges from different countries, from one border to the other. I mean, even the former, sorry to break in, the former governor of Rivers State said that he was, remember what he said? That's
went to one country for
yes, and then he was held there for hours.
No, I don't think we should raise that alarm. No. You see, Nigerians are very, very intelligent professionals. They're everywhere in the world. I beg you. No country can talk with Nigeria's intelligence and professionalism. What we are saying is just
isolated. Pocket size.
Nigerians are everywhere. My brother. Because of our intelligence, they cannot do without us. So these are just flash in the pan. I don't think we should delve more on those things. In Saudi Arabia, Nigerians are there teaching. Nigerians are one of the best Quranic teachers. Best Quranic in Saudi Arabia, they're Nigerians. I made you, if I find that, please then, Amechi should not overstretch that point.
I'm glad that you mentioned Amechi, because Amechi's birthday happened on Saturday. A number of them have talked about how the politicians are weaponizing poverty.